Good morning and happy Friday. I think we're live. Access to Facebook. It's telling me go live to Facebook. Are we live, Jeff? Okay. Good morning, whether you're listening or watching. This is Kat Trillanos with Ta-Da by Kat, Next Level Staging and Design, where we share many creative geniuses on all things home, all things to help you live by design and live intentional. And today's guest is a realtor extraordinaire. She's actually an alumni. It's been so long we didn't realize it. We are on episode 103. She was on our 16th episode. I'm going to have to go back. I don't remember what we talked about. I'm sure it was amazing. But so she is an alumni, and I recently helped Kiki out with a home that had been on the market for a minute. We staged it, and it sold in seconds. That's not literal. It's all relative, but pretty darn close. The magic of staging works. But you know what? Homeownership is the perfect way to build wealth. It's predictable. It's safe. And depending on the market, it is the percentage and how long. But you can just, buy it and leave it. You're going to get equity. So in today's market, with being somewhat volatile, with interest rates high, et cetera, it's the perfect time for you to take a look at your credit. And Kiki and I are going to talk about some main ways and easy ways that you can start improving your credit so that you can enjoy the benefits of home ownership alongside getting the best interest rate over the term of the mortgage. There's no place like home. And without further ado, let me bring in my co-host, Mr. Jeffrey Wong.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Hey, Jeffrey Wong.
I'm making sure everybody get their posts in their groups and so forth. So that's why I'm looking over here.
No problem. You take care of the technical side. I don't want to be bothered with that. But right. I do want you to, chime in and interact as Kiki and I are going through some points. I'm going to introduce Kiki right now. And for those of you who are just on the audio, we'll kind of explain. We have a couple of graphics we're going to bring in, but we'll articulate that as well for your benefit. And please, share this. If you can't watch it now, watch it on the flip side. We're streaming on 7 sites plus podcasts, so you can audio it. You can go to Ta-Da by Kat on YouTube and peruse through our now with Kiki 103 episodes from all kinds of topics. Really, all kinds of topics. So, without further ado, Kiki, welcome.
Kiki,
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, do you remember episode 16? Did we just talk kind of broad about real estate? What was our topic?
I know it was real estate for sure, but I don't remember. Now I will have to go to Ta-Da by Kat and listen to it again. Yes. I believe it was during COVID, was it?
I think it was, because I remember being on your Womack site doing a Pick Cat's Brain, because we were doing things virtual. So I think it was. I think it was to do with how to navigate through COVID. And Kiki's been a realtor for many years.
19 years. And I started in Florida in 2004. I'm licensed there as a broker. I have my own company in Florida. And when we moved to the Woodlands area in 2011, I just got my license and started real estate here, and that's how I met Kat, because we were part of the same office
at that time. Yes. And we stay connected on all the social medias, etc. And Kiki's a very proactive, amazing marketer, because really selling your home is it's marketing. staging your home is also strategic marketing. So thank you for that, Kiki, and we will share with folks your contact information so they can reach you if they're in the Florida and or the Houston area. Kiki can help you with your real estate needs on that. But right now, I want to kind of focus on folks that are either on the fence or maybe they've just thrown up their hands thinking, I'll never buy a house. They're too expensive. Their interest rates are too high and my credit sucks. Well, guess what, guys? All three of those things will change. And you want to be set up for success when it does. If you sit around and just, look at the market and go, oh, interest rates are high. They're not coming down. Houses are too high. I can't afford one. Well, guess what? The key thing that you can do is improve your credit. And there's some simple, easy ways. There's things that you can start doing today that will help, improve your credit. So, Kiki, I'm going to give you the floor here. What would you like to share? Let's say.
Yes, I want to give a little background, right?
Yes.
Like I said, I started the real estate in Florida in 2004 when everything was nice. Prices were going up. People were moving from all different states to buy a piece in the Florida paradise, right? Prices were going up. Anybody could get a mortgage. You had a breath. You could fog a mirror. There you go. Your mortgage is waiting for you, right? Fine.
Oh, absolutely. We used to say when they came in for new home sales, you got a pulse, you can buy a house.
There you go. Here is your home. Sign on the dotted line. Yes.
Yep.
So, but all this started changing in 2008, right?
Yep.
Market crashed. People had put deposits on houses that never broke ground. People had bought multiple properties in, they would sell them for profit, right? I started doing short sales back in 2008 in Florida when nobody even knew what it was, right? But by doing a short sale, you really affect your credit, not as bad as a foreclosure, but it's still not paying.
Absolutely. And for folks who don't know, Kiki, I'd like to interrupt here. A short sale is what she said. Can you explain to our audience what a short sale was back then or is?
A short sale is an agreement that you make with your bank for them to accept less than what you owe on your mortgage, for them to release the lien from you and you don't have to pay anymore and you move on with your life. But of course, that is reported on your credit, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So think about it. From 2008 up until 2012, maybe, people were going through that process. They were having all this bad, and it was, the house was a thing that they were letting go. They had stopped paying loans. So all of that was adding to a bad credit report, right? So, and of course, the short sale or the foreclosure, whatever the situation was. And I want to piggyback on what you said. Those people back then thought, you know what, I will never be able to buy a house again. My credit is down the drain. I now have a foreclosure or a short sale on my record. Sometimes the bank would come back with a judgment for the difference of the money. It was a crazy situation. But guess what? The years went by, people started moving things around to other states, they got a different job, they started getting bills that had back, and their credit score started building up again. Because no matter how bad it is, you can always bring it back up. You know, it doesn't,
Absolutely.
and now it's a number and it doesn't stay there at the same digits forever. It's up to you to be proactive to fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, having seen all that, when I moved here, I said, you know what? I really need to start educating people on credit and how you can fix your credit, because a lot of people are stuck in renting because of bad credit, you know, and they think, oh, you know what? I have bad credit. Nobody's going to loan money to me.
Yep.
Right? Don't you agree? That's why a lot of people.
Absolutely. I've got a graphic here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's just a very simple. Is it readable to you guys?
No, it's a little too small.
Yeah. Can you like enlarge it a little bit?
I can read it out loud because I have a huge screen here.
Oh yeah. Okay. So just real quickly, Jeff. So renting. What's the first one?
This is you build your own land. You build your landlord.
You're building your landlord's wealth when you rent. When you own, obviously, you're building your own wealth. And you know, Kiki knows. I know the rent is exorbitant right now. You definitely are putting gas in somebody else's, you know, Land Rover or whatever when you're renting.
When you're renting, you are still paying a mortgage. It's just not yours. It's your landlord's.
Yep. What's the second one, Jeff?
The second one is your monthly rent payment is likely to increase.
Oh, that's for sure. Where your mortgage is fixed. Yeah, your mortgage is a 30-year fixed or 15-year fixed or what have you. And what's the last one?
The last one is you may be limited in what you can customize in your home.
Well, absolutely. You know, our homes are sanctuaries more than ever. And, you know, I run across this all the time, getting requests to help customize apartments. You know, there's only so much you can do, excuse me, in an apartment or a rental. So, you know, obviously we want to make our sanctuaries our own, and home ownership is definitely, you know, allows that in the, you know, the best way.
And you know, rent doesn't allow you any tax relief.
And that's one thing they didn't mention right here. I'll tell you a little trick that I advise. Now, I'm not an accountant, and I would let the buyers know this, but when I worked for X Builder, you know, a couple decades ago, and they're like, you know, I can't afford a mortgage payment. We would look at what their rent was, which was a lot less then, excuse me, and what a mortgage was. And I learned this from my own personal experience being a single mom of 3 children, working in corporate America. I found out through my CPA, excuse me, that I could raise my deductions to take more, and I'm talking significantly more money home in my paycheck every week. Now, if you were like me, like many other people, you think, well, I have, you know, 3 kids in me. I have, you know, 3 dependents in me. I can only claim 4. No. So I got with my CPA. He said, you make this much money. I was making pretty decent money. And he did an as if in terms of deductions, et cetera, and determined that I could claim 10. Now, for me, we had to check it like every 4 months because a big portion of my income was sales. I had a base, but I was in sales, business to business sales. Excuse me. But he could look at 3 years and go, yeah, you've been clipping along at this much. That increased my take home dollars by a huge amount. So again, I'm not a CPA, but you know, that was something that was just a light bulb and life-changing for me to be able to purchase a home and feel comfortable with the house payment because I was getting, you know, basically an instant raise. And another thing they don't tell you, excuse me, in corporate America is you can go to your HR department. Like if I had, say, a lean quarter or I wanted to back it back a little. I just sent an email to HR department and said, I'd like to change my deductions to 7 or 6 or whatever. So it's not, it's not in stone. You can absolutely do that.
Exactly.
So Kiki, share with us some quick, easy things that maybe, first-time home buyers or but someone with their credit in the toilet could do to start making a difference. So when things are ready, they're ready.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to break down how the credit score is calculated,
Yes.
okay? Because that's where we need to start. Okay, so 35% of our credit score is our payment history.
Yes.
How long have we had credit in our records, right? So my main tip for this is, if you have a lot of people, let's say you had an old Macy's department card from back, I don't know, like 1980, right? And you're like, oh my God, I'm not using this anymore. I'm gonna call and close it. No, no, do not do that.
Yes, and I made that mistake. I had no idea. Yeah, that I'm just going to close all these. No.
Yes, that right there eliminates years of credit history, right?
Yep.
That eliminates like 40 plus years of credit history. Don't do it.
That is key. Okay.
You don't have to use it, right?
Key.
You can put them in your drawer. You can even cut them up and don't even have them.
Right.
But do not close them.
Yes.
Okay. So because that's 35% of your credit history. Okay. The second one is amounts owed. How much money do you owe on these credit cards? Okay. That's 30% of your credit score calculation.
Yep.
So the ideal percentage, that's what, the mortgage companies, the banks want to see. They don't want you to have over 30% usage of your credit lines, okay? So for easy math, let's say you have a credit card with $1,000 limit. They don't want you to see utilizing more than $300, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that if you can charge $1,000, but make sure by the next billing statement, you have paid at least 700 of it. Okay. They don't tell you that you cannot charge, but you have to pay back. Okay.
You have to pay it back. Yeah.
So another percentage is the payment history. Are you paying on time? Do you have late payments? I will be really honest with you. One late payment can take away 100 points from your credit score.
Wow.
Okay, so make sure you pay on time. Set an automatic payment, like schedule it, like what I do with my credit cards. The 30th or the 31st of every month, I go in and schedule all my payments for next month. Okay? Make it a habit. Don't wait last minute. Oh, I forgot. First of all, you will accrue a late payment fee, right? And second of all, you might even forget to pay altogether. Now, credit mix, that's like 10% of your credit. It's mixed of different accounts. They want to see like a car payment, a credit card, like, of course, if you have a house, a mortgage payment. So all this works together because they want to see you being diversified of how many different sources of credit do you have. New credit, they don't really want to see a lot of new credit because that means that you are looking for money, They don't like that. Of course, we said the missed payments, they don't want to see missed payments. Too many inquiries. They don't want to see people who are actively looking for credit, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, that credit card company sent me an offer. Let me go online and see how much I can get, right?
Right.
You go online, you apply, then you get another offer. Oh, let me see how much I can get. First of all, it all affects your credit score because you are asking for credit and they hit your credit. And second of all, it's a red flag. Why are you looking for credit? And here's a tip. Let's say you're on the market to buy a new car, okay? Don't go to Toyota this weekend. Oh, let's see how much I can get. Boom, they run your credit. Oh, I want to go to Nissan next weekend. No. Pick the dealerships that you want to go and be strategic. You go and you run it at the same, like you go and you run the credit at a couple of them, but at the same kind of weekend, because then it gives them, it doesn't affect your credit like it would if you went this weekend, the next weekend, after a month. If you go and do it within a weekend, they know, okay, they're looking to buy a car. Okay, so it doesn't affect you as much as it would if you were going like you are a looker for 6 months. Okay. Same with the mortgage. Like if you are looking to get a home and you want to apply for a mortgage, you should do it at the same time, because again, they know, okay, they're looking to buy a house, they're shopping for the best rate. Okay. So let's say I am renting. I'm renting. How can I get that mortgage payment option on my credit to show, you know what? Oh, I have another stream like of credit. I'm paying my rent on time, right? Because how many people do we know that they're the perfect tenants? They pay on the first of the month, but nobody knows. If you run their credit report, the rental history is nowhere to be found, right? So do you know that tenants can add their rent history on their credit report? There is a company called creditmyrent.com. Okay.
Creditmyrent.com. Okay.
Yeah, creditmyrent.com.
Can you put that in the chat, Beth?
Yeah, if you are renting from an apartment complex, all you have to do is go to the leasing office and ask them. There is a form, I believe, that you know they have to report. Of course, don't do it if you're not paying on time, okay?
Yeah, of course.
Paying your rent on time. So, but they can. I have seen people who have done it, and their credit score has gone up anywhere between 60 to 100 points.
That's amazing. And you know, you and I talked, Kiki, also about, now I don't know on conventional, but I know for sure on FHA, not only can you do that, get that exemption, because here's a couple of reasons why people get turned down. It's either bad credit or what they call shallow credit. So shallow credit is, gosh, you know, I'm young. I haven't bought a house yet. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have a lot of history. And this tip that Kiki's giving is awesome for that, because you do pay rent somewhere. And you know what? Even if you're renting from a relative, if you can show that you're paying $500 a month or $600 a month, that is also applicable. Along with that is cell phone. We're all paying cell phones. So even if you're young with no mortgage, your cell phone will help you if you have shallow credit. So you've got rent. I don't care if you're paying grandma or a management company. You've got your cell phone. I don't care if it's Cricket or prepaid. You have some kind of history showing that you're paying on time, and that's what the lenders are looking for. Is, you know, do they have the ability to pay? And we'll talk about that in a minute when we get into debt to income ratio. The ability to pay. Do they have a history of payment? And so that shallow credit. These are great tips, Kiki. So for those folks that are brand new, they want to get in a home, but they don't have any credit. So really keep that in mind. let's talk about debt to income. So, when I talk about lending, to new home buyers in the day, I call it like a three-legged stool. It's kind of a triage, and there's three main things that lenders are looking for. One is the ability to pay, so that's the JOB, and I'm going to let Kiki talk about that, like how long and what type of job and so forth. And then there's the debt to income ratio, and that means how many bills do you have, for how much you make, and that's different between FHA and conventional. And then there's the third thing they look at is reserves. Have you saved any money? Well, maybe you don't have tangible saved money, but maybe you've got 20,000 in a 401k, or you've got some sort of a trust, and Kiki can elaborate on that, but reserves. So they want to know, do you have ability to pay? What kind of reserves do you have, and have you paid on time? That's kind of what I call the three-legged stool. So do you want to break that down a little bit for our listeners on FHA to conventional? And we can start with either one. Let's talk debt to income ratio, because I think that's different for FHA to conventional, right, Kiki?
Yeah, FHA is a little bit more linear. Like they will allow you to have a little bit more
debt
to income, right?
Okay.
And conventional, of course, is different, but the FHA, the qualifying ratio is about 43%. So you are allowed to have like 43% of your income as debt you can have like 43% debt based on your income.
To your income. And that's, easy math. You take how much you make, which is gross, and divide it into your debts. Now, I want to talk briefly about debts and also income, because if you're a single mom and you're getting child support, that's income, ladies.
Yep.
That is income. Okay. But I want to talk about something that I learned, and this is something
there is a little catch on the child support. If the child is 17 years old, next year, so you have to have more than 2 years.
More than 2 years. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so if your kids are about to turn 18, obviously you're not going to get child support in 2 years, and you're doing a 30-year or 15-year fix.
Exactly.
So more than 2 years, Kiki?
Yes.
More than 2 years. That's pretty lenient. I mean, I'm surprised. That's pretty lenient. And then let's talk about a car. This is something that I learned. So let's say, what else can I do? I have a car payment. They're not going to count the car payment. I don't know what car payments are these days. Let's say $500. I think that's what ours is. What's the time frame on that, Kiki? If it's less than 7, it'll be paid off in less than 7-8 months. What's the time frame?
Yeah, it's around 7 months that they don't count, because you will be done with it,
Awesome. So if you've got more than that, work on that to, put your goals in line to where you'll be 7 months or less by the time you're applying for a loan, and they will not count that as your debt to income ratio. What does that do? You just qualified yourself to buy more home and or have a lower interest rate.
Exactly. And
a lower payment.
Another thing that I want to point out, if there is a couple, right? We have a couple that is applying for a loan. The person who makes the most money is whose credit score they're going by. So if that person has the lowest credit score, they need to start working on raising it, because if this is the primary person on the application, because they have the highest income. So
what you're saying is the highest income is what they look at the credit score. So let's say I've got the highest income, but my credit score is in the toilet. I can't use my spouse's.
You can income then because your credit is low. So that's the thing. They will go by the lower income if the person has better credit score, but then you cannot get the maximum.
The maximum because you don't qualify. You don't have an ability to pay. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, Kiki, are they still doing, years ago when I worked for Builder X, we did a couple, what we call non-occupying buyers. So what that looks like is, young couple comes in, they don't have credit, neither one of them, or money.
It's the co-borrower, right? You are talking about a co-borrower. So you will use someone with better credit to help you get, in that.
Oh, okay. Okay, and that's okay that they don't live in the house.
That's okay
they don't. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That is big with FHA. FHA does that a lot because it's usually the people who are trying to get started buying a house and they need a co-signer. And of course, non-occupant, they don't live in the house, but they just.
That's what I wanted to make sure, that they still have that stipulation that they're not living in the house.
Yeah, but here's the catch.
Yes.
The person who guarantees or is the co-borrower has to make sure that the other person is going to pay that mortgage, because then their credit is on the line.
Oh, absolutely. That's why it's usually families, that do that.
Family, yes.
But the downfall of that. So take me a step further on that, because I helped actually someone on my team a few years ago do that, and they had a co-borrower. So obviously, one, they don't get the credit or the tax advantage, right? Because it stands worth it to saying that the tax advantage is, if your house payment is $1,500 a month, you're writing off probably $1,450 in the first 10 or 15 years as interest.
Interest, yes.
All the interest. Okay, so that reduces your taxable income by an exponential amount. So obviously, let's say the kids, we'll call them kids, they're not getting that tax advantage. What would be the next step? Like, do they have to wait till they have so much equity, or can, let's say, the parent just give the title to them? How does that work?
If there is a mortgage, you have to refinance the house to remove someone. Yes.
Gotcha. And so, and what that means for those who are, to refinance it, they then, and maybe what happens is that gives them time to build their credit, build their reserves, and build their debt to income ratio.
Exactly.
Now they can apply for the loan and take it away from the parents, and now they're getting the tax advantage, and they own the home on title, etc. Okay, gotcha. So we covered debt to income.
I know a lot of people nowadays are really skeptic. Let's be honest. Your credit score doesn't only affect your ability to buy a house or a car. Low credit score will make you pay more on your utility bills, on your insurance, because all these companies they call it a soft credit report, which means that it doesn't really take points away from your actual credit. They do run that report where your credit is, because that gives them an idea of how you pay your bills. So that's why we cannot sit here and be like, hey, Jeff, how much are you paying for your car insurance? How many cars? Oh, Jeff is like, oh, I pay $200 a month. Kat is like, I pay $500. But we have the same cars, right? Or I pay $1,000. Most likely, other than how many car accidents, we have, is our credit. That's why I laugh every time you are in a Facebook group and people are like, how much do you pay for car insurance? It doesn't matter how much I pay. We're not the same.
Yeah, there's so many variables, it's like we have our home and our that makes ours less, et cetera. But that's a good point. Why your credit is so important.
It affects everything. It affects, like, if you're gonna put it for your utilities. You know, sometimes you move houses and you apply for at the utility company, and they connect it or whatever right away, and then sometimes they're like, oh no, you have to put a $400 deposit. You have to put the deposit
because credit.
they run your credit.
Yep. So unfortunately or unfortunately, it's just one of those things we live with. You've got to play the credit game.
Yeah, you have to play the game. Yes,
you have to play the game. I'm gonna share two things, and then I'll let you close, Kiki. We're at about 35 minutes. I personally, when we came from California, we had really bad credit for various tax reasons over there, etc. I really didn't know what to do. You know, I didn't really have funds to hire a credit repair. And so I did research, and something you can do, just like I did. I brought our score from, I'm embarrassed to say, like 479 to over 700. Okay. Yeah. And I did that. It takes a little time, but it's just diligence and perseverance. I got the credit reporting agencies, all three of them, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Those are the three. You can Google them and pull your credit report. The second tip I'm going to give you is Credit Karma. This was shared with me. It's a free service, and they send me, you know, once a month. Oh, good job, you've paid this off. Good job, this, or oh, you know, you have a collections. Whatever they're going to tell you, and keep a temperature. You know, with this busy life that we lead, and all the plates we have to juggle. It's a good push reminder of where you're at with your credit. But back to call. So I called. I'm sorry. I got the forms to dispute. You want to dispute anything that's on your credit report, whether you know it to be true or not. And that's the game. I'm not telling you to lie, but I'm telling you to dispute everything on your credit report. Why? Because the onus is on TransUnion. The onus is on Experian. The onus is on Equifax. More than likely, if it's something really old that you probably don't even remember, they have it in archives, and they're not going to take the time, resources, and energy and money to find it and to dispute it. So guess what? It's assigned a case number. You've disputed it in writing, and they have 30 days to come up with a response. And that, my friends, is how I increased my credit score from 479 to over 740, I think it was. So that's something easy. It does take time. For me, it took probably about 10 months to a year, but guys, you got time. Market's not, you know, super great, except for those that have to move, that are being transferred or downsizing, upsizing, et cetera. There'll always be people that need to move right away. But particularly for you first-time home buyers who think you could never buy, you can buy. And I hope that you take some tips that Kiki has shared, that we have shared today. Jeff, is there any comments or anything you want to add to this episode?
Well, I would just like to say that the market is a little bit different than what we're used to. So with that being the case, how much time would you recommend, Kiki, for folks who's looking to buy a home? How much time is realistic for start looking, get credit repair? Let's just say, you know, typically you need 640, 650, right? To get a loan.
You have to be above 650, yes.
Okay, so we're
for a decent rate, okay?
Okay, so
because there are builders that will go to 500. There are mortgage companies, but that's too high interest. Yes.
Yes. So with that being said, would you say 6 months to a year is realistic?
6 months to a year is realistic, yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
And
so if we're discussing to buy a house today, I act on it today, I'm not really moving into a house probably at least 6 to a year from now, right?
Right.
Okay. And that's the kind of things that I think a lot of first timers and a lot of folks who hasn't bought a home in a long time really understand. They're thinking, oh, if we start looking at a house, then we need to start going, and it will be gone in 90 days. You know.
And I want to agree with Kat. Pull your credit report. It's free. You can pull your credit report once a year from every credit reporting agency, and don't do it all at once. Let's say do it from experience this month, allow a couple, 2-3 months, do Equifax, and then do TransUnion. So every 3 months you pull it from a different source and you can see what's happening. Anything that is too old or you don't know what it is, go ahead and dispute it. It has to be in writing, okay? And be aware of people who claim to do credit repair that ask for upfront fees, huge amounts of money that you have to pay. Do your research. Talk to people that are in the industry, that they deal with real estate. A lot of times the mortgage companies can do a lot of things for you for free. You don't even have to pay, because they can look at your credit report and say, you know what, we can do this, we can remove, can rescore the mortgage people can rescore your report and tell you how much it's gonna go up. So resources, okay?
Yes.
The realtors, the mortgage people, your banker, before you go to Joe Schmo credit repair, lean into the professionals that have the best interest of you and your family in mind, and they really want to help you. That's my advice.
Absolutely. And Kiki, you and I talked pre-show, and I come from new home sales, community management over a decade. And her and I chatted, we could talk about so many subjects, but I want to have you back in the next couple of months and talk about why someone needs a realtor and the plethora of advantages to using a realtor in purchasing a new home. So many people don't think they need a realtor.
Yes.
And there's a lot of nuances to that. We'll set a date and have you back for that.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing this buyer's purchasing power, Kiki. I've got it up on the screen here. And for those who are just listening, it talks about interest rates and your home loan amount based on the home that you purchase. And obviously this would be lower if you put more money down,
Exactly.
etc. But it gives you a good snapshot of interest rate to house payment. Now, is this would this be just the house payment? This is the mortgage interest. Okay. Would this be including
this is the principal and interest.
It is PITI. Okay. So principal, interest, taxes, and I think it's insurance. So that is all rolled in. Sometimes you can get that separate, but it's not usually advised. It's easier just to have it all rolled together. That way you know it's paid, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Kiki.
Thank you for having me. It was very interesting. Nice to see you, Jeff. Put the face with the name, nice.
Yes. And definitely have you back again. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please share if you or anyone is looking to purchase a home in the next 9 months to 12 months. And as always, have a super weekend. And we encourage you to love more, give more, and be more in 24. And it can start with being a homeowner, because, guys, there's no place like a home. And Kiki can help you buy or sell that home. And there's no place like a staged home by Tada. Had to get that plug in there. So have a great weekend, everybody.
And I can attest to that. Attest to the thing.
Yep, I'm going to get your testimonial here soon on house. But thank you again, Kiki and everyone. And we'll see you next weekend.
Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.